been working with Fujitsu for about 4 years now. Previous to that, 15 years in the public service, providing a number of different roles across the public service, everything from basic ICT infrastructure support through to senior enterprise architecture roles supporting some of our major government departments. Fujitsu Australia has been around for about 45 years. We celebrated our 45th birthday earlier in July. We're a very large managed services provider. Over around 4,000 people working for Fujitsu. We have capability right across the Australian region, so from East Coast to West Coast. We've got a good centre of capability over here in Perth with around 160 or so personnel on the ground here supporting our major accounts. Fujitsu provide a whole range of services, so quite well known in the industry from a brand name around what we do for air conditioning, but we're actually a fairly large ICT service provider. $1.2 billion business, constantly looking at new ways of innovating and bringing new technologies to market. So Fujitsu from a global profile perspective, 160,000 people, probably the fourth largest managed service provider in the world, sits there alongside all the other major brand names that you commonly see. We're number one in Japan, so we're headquartered in Japan. 80 years of history coming out of Japan in the Fujitsu culture and background that we have. So we're about 4,000 strong at the moment. That does fluctuate around. We are an Australian and New Zealand business. We have the New Zealand entity over there across the way that we're also supporting very strongly from a cybersecurity perspective. Fujitsu headquartered out of Sydney. We've got a large capability down in Melbourne, an office up in Brisbane, as well as in the city of Gold Coast. We stretch across into Adelaide, also across here into Perth. So the majority of our resources do sit in between Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne, with but a strong capability here in Western Australia and Adelaide as well, with obviously Canberra being from where I am, our headquarters for defence and federal government business. Federal government and defence are one of our largest one of our largest customers. We've worked with them for a number of years now with a long relationship with Department of Defence that stretches back for over 20 years. In federal government, the opportunity or the engagement with federal government started off with ABS back in 1979, so a long history with ABS as well. From an industry perspective, support multiple different industries, rail, finance, we're strong also in the logistics space. We've got major accounts and customers like Australian brand names that you'd recognise, like Qantas, Australia Post, etc., all of which we provide a range of managed services and ICT support to. In the defence sector, primarily we're supporting the Department of Defence across this Chief Information Officer group. We've got a large capability that supports their service desk operations, as well as supporting the military platform integration, as well as supporting the ICT architecture and support through the CTO group. ICT delivery division is a key focus for us around supporting the major military platforms integration and the opportunities that we can take to defence to build the integration between major acquisitions and the strategic networks. Fujitsu support a range of ICT security operations. We are constantly building and growing our capability in conjunction with Defence to provide that next level cyber resilience that Defence and our partners expect of us. The defence business for us, or the defence industry for us, is probably around about a third of our business. We've got about 700 people that are working inside the defence organisation, all security cleared. Defence is a significant partner of ours. We've got a long-term relationship with them that we look forward to continuing. From my perspective, the defence industry is one of the areas that we're looking for strategic growth in, not only supporting our business and defence business, but also supporting the defence industry and making sure that we can bring secure platforms to the market to deliver the capability that defence and other federal government departments are expecting of us. In the light of a lot of breaches that we're seeing in the supply chain, Fujitsu is building capability to make sure that we meet the requirements from a security standards perspective that Defence expect of us. So growth in the cybersecurity business in supporting Defence meet the next generation of supply chain demands is something that we are keenly supporting and working with. Outside cybersecurity, there's naturally a lot of growth in our business as well. We're working across multiple areas of defence through ICT Delivery Division with the services directly and major military acquisitions to support not only the above-the-line consulting and advice, but the below-line delivery of those capabilities. Within Australia, we have a very diverse landscape of security providers. Lots of small providers, niche providers, and a number of the major, large managed security service providers as you would expect to see. Fujitsu is taking a global stance around how we're building our cybersecurity capability, and I'm proud to work as part of that global team to literally extend and build our capability here within Australia. Our differentiators are from our defence and federal government history and our defence and federal government maturity when it comes to providing secure services to defence and to that federal government market. We're taking that maturity and we're leveraging that in all the solutions that we're developing moving forward inside Fujitsu. Within Western Australia, we're seeing a strong growth in the defence industry market. A lot of larger and smaller defence industry players and capability that is growing out of Western Australia. We want to be involved in that marketplace and with our industry partners to grow and strengthen that ecosystem. Cyber resilience is a key aspect of growing the defence industry within Western Australia. You've got everything from the right educational and background resources that are growing capability here in Western Australia, the right industry players that are doing major defence acquisition and engagements, as well as a number of different other small players that are providing niche components. Fujitsu sees great opportunity in growth in working in partnership with these defence industry providers, growing and working directly with defence as well in Western Australia.